First Contact and Invasion. The Krell Dominion had conquered 37 star systems in less than 2 centuries. Their methodology was ruthlessly efficient: arrive with overwhelming force, demonstrate technological superiority, and offer a simple choice: immediate surrender or complete annihilation. Most species chose to live as subjects rather than die as heroes. The few who resisted were preserved only as cautionary tales in Krell historical archives. Grand Admiral Zexter Terrell stood on the command deck of the Subjugator, flagship of the Dominion's 7th expansion fleet. His silver, scaled skin reflected the blue glow of tactical displays as he studied preliminary reports on the newly discovered planet designated Target 3721, a blue-green world orbiting an unremarkable yellow star. "Primitive," he muttered, mandibles clicking in what passed for amusement among the Krell. Still burning hydrocarbons, their fastest vessels barely reached their neighboring planets. Military technology equivalent to our early space age. Science Director Nev Lauren approached, her data tablet displaying comprehensive scans of the target world. "The species calls itself human, Admiral. They appear fractured into hundreds of competing nation-states. No unified planetary government or defense system. Our analysis suggests a Type 0.8 civilization at most." Zexter Terrell flicked his secondary eyes in dismissal. Another easy acquisition for the Dominion. Standard protocol should suffice. "There is something unusual about their development pattern," Nev Lauren noted, hesitation in her voice. "Their technological advancement appears uneven. In some areas, they lag centuries behind expectations, while in others—" "Spare me the scientific curiosities, Director," the Admiral interrupted. "The Intelligence Corps has provided all I need to know. Their most advanced weapons can barely reach orbit. They have no unified defense grid. They'd waste resources fighting among themselves. They will capitulate within hours of our arrival." As was customary for species deemed non-threatening, the Admiral authorized deployment of 10,000 warships, excessive force by any measure, but the Dominion maintained its galactic hegemony through spectacular demonstrations of power. The invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect geometric formation behind Earth's moon, cloaking systems activated to prevent premature detection. "All ships report ready, Admiral," announced Fleet Commander Cross. "Deployment pattern Alpha 7 is loaded. We can simultaneously appear over all major population centers within moments of your command." "Excellent. Commence the operation," Zexter Terrell ordered. "Let us add another star to the Dominion." The first indication that something was amiss came mere minutes later when 3 advanced scout ships suddenly went silent upon atmospheric entry. "Technical malfunction?" Chief Engineer Vexmore suggested. "The planet's magnetic field shows unusual properties not cataloged in our preliminary scans." But then 5 more ships vanished from the tactical display. Then 20. Then 50. "Impossible!" Fleet Commander Cross hissed, his scales darkening with alarm. "Deploy Battle Group Thorn to investigate." Battle Group Thorn, 300 warships strong, descended toward the North American continent. Within minutes, 264 ships had been neutralized. The remaining vessels barely managed to retreat to lunar orbit, their hulls scorched by weapons technologies that shouldn't exist on such a primitive world. "They have directed energy weapons," Communications Officer Jari reported, voice trembling with disbelief. "And something else, something disrupting our gravitational drives at the quantum level." The tactical display continued to blink with alarming red notifications as more ships fell silent. Admiral Zexter Terrell's mind struggled to process what was happening. The intelligence reports were catastrophically wrong, Science Director Nev Lauren whispered, giving voice to the Admiral's growing suspicion. Either that, or they knew we were coming. All those competing nations, that primitive-seeming technology, it was misdirection. Refusing to accept defeat, Zexter Terrell ordered a concentrated assault on a smaller landmass designated Australia to demonstrate Dominion might. 2,000 ships descended from orbit in perfect attack formation. None returned. Reports flooded the command deck of previously undetected defensive systems, activating only when approached. microscopic machines that devoured Krell alloys, electromagnetic pulses that bypassed their shields as if they didn't exist. Most disturbing of all, humans in powered combat suits boarding disabled Krell vessels, moving with impossible speed and coordination. How could we have missed this? Zexter Terrell demanded, his confidence shattered. No pre-FTL civilization could possibly. They're not pre-FTL, Lauren interrupted, her analysis complete. They have been space-capable for longer than we estimated. Their apparent technological limitations were deliberate. As the terrible truth dawned, Admiral Zexter Terrell issued the order no Krell commander had given in 7 generations: full retreat. All remaining vessels disengage immediately. But it was already too late. A quantum barrier had encircled the solar system, preventing hyperspace jumps. The remaining ships attempted to flee at sublight speeds, but thousands of small human vessels emerged from concealed positions throughout the system. They moved with impossible agility, their weapons slicing through Krell defenses as though they were targeting practice drones. Within 26 hours, the mighty Dominion fleet was reduced to just 73 functioning vessels, surrounded and powerless, their weapons disabled by technologies the Krell had never encountered before. Admiral Zexter Terrell stood rigid on his command deck as communication screens activated around him, displaying the face of a human female. Unlike the monsters his troops had reported boarding their ships, she appeared remarkably ordinary. "This is General Helena Chun of the Earth Defense Coalition," she stated calmly. "Your invasion has failed. Your remaining ships are surrounded. You have 2 options: surrender or be destroyed." For the first time in his long military career, Grand Admiral Zexter Terrell of the Krell Dominion experienced an emotion he had inflicted on countless other species but never expected to feel himself: utter defeat. "How?" he asked simply. "You were supposed to be primitive, divided, vulnerable." General Chin's expression remained impassive. "We detected your observer probes decades ago. We've been monitoring your expansion, your conquests, your methodologies, while appearing divided. Earth's nations united in secret against the threat we knew would eventually arrive. Everything you saw was what we wanted you to see." As this revelation sank in, the Admiral realized the Dominion had catastrophically underestimated this species. They had walked into a trap centuries in the making. The humans hadn't just been preparing for invasion. They had been baiting one, waiting for the opportunity to announce their presence to the galaxy not as victims, but as victors. "I will accept your surrender terms," Zexter Terrell finally conceded, knowing that the alternative was annihilation. As the words left his mouth, he understood with terrible clarity that the Krell Dominion's age of unchallenged expansion had come to an end. The reckoning and aftermath. 2 days after the failed invasion, the 73 surviving Krell vessels floated in Earth orbit under constant surveillance. On the subjugator's command deck, now operating on minimal power, Grand Admiral Zexter Terrell and his senior staff awaited their fate. "They could have destroyed us completely," Science Director Nev Lauren observed, studying data from their confinement. "Yet they chose restraint." Curious. Fleet Commander Cross bristled, his pride wounded. "Perhaps they lacked the resolve to finish what they started. We should attempt a coordinated breakout." "Some of us might reach out." "And go where?" Zexter Terrell interrupted sharply. "The quantum barrier still surrounds the system. And even if we could escape, what would we report to the Dominion? That we lost 10,000 ships to a species that shouldn't have been able to challenge even one?" A holographic projection materialized on the bridge, showing a small delegation of humans approaching in a shuttle. Unlike the mechanized soldiers who had decimated the Krell fleet, these individuals wore simple diplomatic attire. "They're boarding us," Communication Officer GRE announced unnecessarily. Minutes later, General Helena Chun entered the command deck, accompanied by 3 colleagues, 2 male humans and a female. They carried no visible weapons, displaying a confidence that only deepened the Admiral's humiliation. "Admiral Zexter Terrell," Chun acknowledged with a slight nod. "Allow me to introduce Dr. Sanjay Kapoor, our xenobiologist, Commander Jackson Hayes, military liaison, and Dr. Amar Okafor, our diplomatic representative." The dark-skinned human woman stepped forward. "Admiral, we've analyzed your ship's databases. We understand the structure of the Krell Dominion, its history of conquest, and its treatment of subjugated species." "Then you know the consequences of your actions," Zexter Terrell responded. "The Dominion will send more ships when we fail to report. They will not rest until your world is ashes." Commander Hayes, a weathered soldier with calculating eyes, actually smiled. "We're counting on it." This response stunned the Krell officers. Science Director Nev Lauren's compound eyes widened in comprehension. "You wanted this confrontation. This was never about repelling our invasion. It was about announcing your existence to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible." Dr. Okafor nodded. "For centuries, humanity debated how to approach first contact. Should we broadcast our presence? Send peaceful ambassadors? But as we secretly observed species like yours conquering others, we realized neither approach would protect us. So we created a strategy." General Chin continued. "We would appear primitive while developing advanced technologies in secret. We would seem divided while unifying our defenses. And most importantly, we would wait for someone like you to test those defenses." The brilliance of the strategy slowly dawned on Zexter Terrell. By allowing themselves to be discovered and then decisively defeating a major invasion force, the humans had announced their technological capabilities to the galaxy more effectively than any peaceful broadcast could have. "What happens now?" he asked. Dr. Kapoor spoke for the first time. "That depends partly on you. We have no desire for genocide, Admiral. Unlike the Krell, we don't believe extermination is the natural conclusion of conflict." Commander Hayes added, "But make no mistake, we've analyzed every weakness in your military systems. If the Dominion sends another fleet, they will suffer the same fate. Worse, actually, since we've learned quite a bit from your ship designs already." "What my colleagues are trying to explain," Dr. Okafor interjected, "is that we're offering you a choice, not surrender or destruction, but partnership or isolation." The terms were explained clearly. Most of the surviving Krell would remain as guests on Earth, experiencing human culture firsthand and serving as cultural liaisons. A small delegation, including Zexter Terrell, would be permitted to return to the Dominion with functional ships and a message. Earth was open to diplomatic relations and trade, but any further military action would be met with overwhelming force. "And why would the Dominion agree to these terms?" Fleet Commander Cross demanded. General Chin's response was simple: "Because we're sending you back with more than just words." The human delegation presented a data core containing information about a revolutionary propulsion technology, more efficient than anything the Krell possessed. It was simultaneously a peace offering and a warning. "This is just a fraction of what we've developed. Imagine what else we have." 3 weeks later, as he prepared to depart the Sol system with 12 ships and a carefully selected crew, Admiral Zexter Terrell found himself on Earth's surface for the first diplomatic reception. From a balcony overlooking one of their cities, London, they called it, he observed the strange dichotomy of human existence. Ancient structures of stone stood alongside sleek towers of composite materials. People moved about without uniformity or apparent hierarchy, yet functioned in complex social patterns. "Magnificent, isn't it?" Dr. Okafor approached, offering him a specially prepared nutrient solution compatible with Krell biology. "Chaotic," he replied. "Inefficient, perhaps, but that chaos breeds innovation. Your society values conformity and order above all. Ours thrives on diversity and creative conflict." Zexter Terrell considered this. "The Dominion Council may still choose war when I return." "They won't," she said with quiet confidence. "Your scientists will analyze our technology and understand what it implies. Fighting us would be costly at best, suicidal at worst. Your Dominion has always chosen efficient paths to power. War with Earth would be the opposite of efficient." As night fell over the city, illuminating it with countless lights, Zexter Terrell realized she was right. The Krell Dominion would adapt, as it always had. The galaxy was entering a new era, one where humanity would play a far greater role than anyone had anticipated. 2 days later, as his small fleet approached the quantum barrier's edge, Zexter Terrell received one final transmission from Earth. It contained no words, only an image. Ancient human warriors astride large quadrupedal animals, facing the sunrise. Below the image was a simple phrase in Krell language, not pray, but equals. The barrier opened just enough to allow their passage, then sealed behind them. As they activated their hyperspace drives, Admiral Zexter Terrell gazed back at the diminishing blue planet. The Dominion had sent 10,000 warships to conquer Earth. Only a handful survived to tell the tale, and the tale they would tell would change the course of galactic history forever. In the decades that followed, the balance of power shifted dramatically. The Krell Dominion, recognizing the futility of conflict with Earth, reluctantly accepted a diplomatic relationship. Other species, learning of humanity's decisive victory, sought alliances with this newcomer to interstellar politics. Several subjugated worlds, inspired by Earth's example, launched successful independence movements. Earth itself changed too. No longer needing to hide their technological advancements, humans embarked on a period of unprecedented exploration and expansion. Within 50 years, they had established colonies in 12 star systems, each one a testament to their adaptability and innovative spirit. As for Admiral Zexter Terrell, he never commanded another invasion fleet. Instead, he became the Dominion's foremost expert on human affairs and, eventually, its first ambassador to Earth. In his later writings, he reflected on the lessons learned from that fateful encounter. The greatest threat to power is not opposition but overconfidence. We believed ourselves invincible because we had never been defeated. We thought ourselves wise because we had conquered many. But in the quiet blue world orbiting an unremarkable yellow star, we found not just an adversary who could match our strength, but a mirror reflecting our greatest weakness. In humanity's victory and subsequent mercy, the Krell Dominion discovered something we had forgotten through centuries of unchallenged conquest. The true measure of advancement lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to know when not to. 5 years after the historic first contact with the Krell Dominion, Earth had emerged as a significant interstellar power. The quantum barrier that once protected the Sol system had been replaced by a network of monitoring stations, standing as both welcoming beacons and subtle reminders of humanity's defensive capabilities. Ambassador Zexter Terrell, once Grand Admiral of the Dominion's 7th Expansion Fleet, now served in a very different capacity. His official residence in Geneva overlooked Lake Leman, where he would often spend quiet moments contemplating the strange twists of fate that had brought him to this role. "Ambassador, your guests have arrived," announced his human assistant, Michael. Zexter's mandibles clicked in acknowledgement as he adjusted his ceremonial vestments. The silver scales along his crest had dulled slightly with age, but his bearing remained commanding. Today marked an important milestone. The first diplomatic delegation from the Vostri Conclave, a civilization that had long existed under Krell subjugation. The meeting chamber featured a circular table, a human insistence on equality that still occasionally irritated his Krell sensibilities. Dr. Amara Okafor, now Earth's senior diplomatic coordinator, greeted him with a respectful nod. "Ambassador Terrell, I trust you're prepared for today's discussions?" The Vostri are understandably anxious about establishing relations outside Dominion oversight. "Anxiety is predictable when one has known only subjugation," Zexter replied. "I was once the embodiment of that subjugation. My presence may complicate matters, or it may demonstrate how profoundly things have changed," Amara countered. "Your transformation from conqueror to diplomat speaks volumes." The delegation entered, tall, lithe beings with iridescent skin that shifted colors with their emotional state. Their leader, Delegate Prima Nexon, regarded Zexter with unmistakable wariness, her skin briefly flashing crimson before settling into a cautious amber. "Ambassador Terrell," she said, her translator rendering her harmonics into standard speech. "The last time Krell ships appeared in our system, it was under your command. 3 million Vostri died in that conquest." The chamber fell silent. Zexter did not flinch from the accusation. "Those events occurred under a different paradigm," he acknowledged. I do not ask for forgiveness, merely the opportunity to build something better than what came before. Prima Nexon's skin shifted through several colors before returning to amber. The humans speak of redemption. We Vostri have no such concept. Actions leave permanent marks on the universe. Then let us create new actions, Amara intervened smoothly. Earth offers the Vostri conclave full recognition as a sovereign power and technological exchange without the restrictions the Dominion imposed. The negotiations proceeded for hours, delving into trade agreements, cultural exchanges, and mutual defense considerations. Throughout, Zexter observed the subtle interplay between human diplomatic style, simultaneously flexible and principled, and the Vostri tendency toward absolute positions softened only through elaborate rituals of concession. When they broke for recess, Zexter found himself alone with Prima Nexon in the observation lounge. Below them, Lake Lehman glittered in the late afternoon sun. "Your world is beautiful," the Vostri delegate said unexpectedly. "I understand better now why your people chose to hide rather than reveal yourselves to the galaxy." "Not my people," Zexter corrected. "I remain Krell, despite my position here. And yet you serve human interests against Dominion expansion." Zexter considered this. "I serve balance." The Dominion grew complacent in its power, as all unchallenged forces do. Humanity's emergence has created a counterweight, forcing my people to evolve beyond conquest. Evolution through defeat, Prima mused, her skin shifting to contemplative blue. We Vostri have known only submission. Freedom feels unstable. It is, Zexter agreed. But that instability drives growth. Humans thrive in chaos, finding patterns where we see only disorder. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent communication. Michael appeared at the doorway, his expression grave. "Ambassador, we're receiving reports of unusual activity at the frontier outpost in the Arcturus system. 3 unidentified vessels have crossed the boundary. Crisis at the frontier." The crisis chamber beneath Geneva's diplomatic complex hummed with activity as representatives from Earth's Defense Coalition, the Krell Embassy, and the Vostri delegation gathered around a holographic display showing the situation at Arcturus. "The vessels are not of Dominion design," confirmed Commander Elena Rodriguez, Earth Fleet's tactical officer. "Their energy signatures don't match any known civilization in our database." Zexter studied the projection with his secondary eyes, noting the unusual configuration of the approaching ships. Their movement patterns suggest a reconnaissance formation, not an attack posture. "They've ignored all standard greeting protocols," Rodriguez continued. "We've transmitted in 47 known languages and received no response." Dr. Kapoor, who had risen to Director of Xenological Studies, joined them with an urgent analysis. "Their bio-readings are like nothing we've encountered, silicon-based organisms with quantum-entangled neural structures." Prima Nexon's skin paled to alabaster. "The Void Harvesters," she whispered. "Ancient legends speak of beings from the galactic rim who consume stars in their death throes. Legends are rarely reliable intelligence sources," Zexter noted dryly, but noticed the human officials exchanging concerned glances. General Chen, now Earth's defense coordinator, made the decision swiftly. Deploy the Arcturus fleet to defensive positions, but maintain safe distance. Launch diplomatic probes with first contact protocols. "And if they prove hostile?" Zexter inquired. "Then we demonstrate that humanity's defeat of the Krell was not our only capability," Chen replied evenly. As the crisis unfolded, Zexter found himself in an unexpected position, mediator between humans and Vostri, both turning to him for insights on potential threats from beyond known space. The irony was not lost on him, the former conqueror now working to protect former victims against a new menace. Hours passed with mounting tension. The unidentified vessels had taken up orbit around Arcturus, 4, an uninhabited gas giant, and appeared to be extracting atmospheric compounds through massive energetic processes. "They're harvesting isotopes of hydrogen and helium, 3, reported the science officer. "At an industrial scale." Dr. Okafor seized on this information. "Resource acquisition, not conquest." That gives us an opening for communication. She proposed a bold approach, sending a small joint delegation including human, Krell, and Vostri representatives to attempt direct contact while offering access to resources in exchange for peaceful relations. The risk is substantial, Zexter cautioned. As was your return to the Dominion with news of your defeat, Amara countered. Some situations demand calculated risk. Prima Nexon, her skin now a determined purple, volunteered immediately. The Vostri have lived in fear for too long. If there are new powers emerging in our galaxy, we must show courage in meeting them. To everyone's surprise, Zexter also volunteered. My experience in first contact situations, however flawed, may prove valuable. Within 12 hours, their small diplomatic vessel approached the massive harvesters under strict protocols established by Earth's xenocontact specialists. What followed would once again reshape the galactic landscape. The galactic confluence. The beings calling themselves Thenvari proved neither conquerors nor monsters, but ancient conservators, the last remnants of a civilization billions of years old, traveling the galaxy preserving stellar resources from what they called the coming darkness. Their communication, once established through complex quantum interfaces, revealed a perspective spanning eons. They had watched countless civilizations rise and fall, rarely interfering except to protect the fundamental resources of the galaxy from wasteful depletion. Your species are young, their representative, a crystalline entity designated translation node, explained during the historic first meeting aboard their harvester vessel. You measure history in centuries or millennia. We measure it in galactic rotations. The diplomatic mission lasted weeks, with Zexter, Prima, and Dr. Okafor negotiating terms of coexistence with beings whose concept of time made the differences between humans and Krell seem insignificant. They perceive us as virtually identical, Zexter remarked to Amara during a private moment. Our conflicts must seem as meaningless as bacterial competitions. And yet they acknowledge our right to exist and develop, she replied. That's a foundation we can build upon. When they finally returned to Earth, they brought with them a revolutionary understanding. The galaxy contained powers far beyond either human or Krell comprehension. Entities whose technologies and perspectives made even the most advanced civilizations appear primitive. In a historic address to the newly formed Stellar Concord, an alliance now including Earth, independent Vostri systems, and reformist factions of the Krell Dominion, Ambassador Zexter Terrell delivered a message that would define the next century of interstellar relations. We stand at a threshold unforeseen by any of our civilizations. Thenvari have shown us that the universe is older, stranger, and more varied than our limited perspectives imagined. They have also shown us that our petty conflicts over territory and resources are symptoms of youth, not wisdom. He continued, his scaled form commanding respect from species that had once feared him as a harbinger of destruction. The Dominion's philosophy of conquest was based on a false premise. That power flows only to those who seize it. Humanity taught us that true power lies in adaptation and innovation. Now the Thenvari teach us that the ultimate power may be preservation and patience. Prime Nexon, her skin shimmering with purpose, added, the Vostri Conclave proposes a new paradigm. Not dominion, not coalition, but confluence, where diverse civilizations flow together while maintaining their essential nature. In the years that followed, the galactic confluence emerged as a new interstellar order. The Krell Dominion, faced with growing reform movements inspired by Earth's example and the Thenvari revelations, gradually transformed from an empire of conquest to a federation of affiliated worlds. The transition was not without conflict, as conservative factions resisted changes to a system that had sustained Krell supremacy for centuries. Earth continued its careful expansion, establishing colonies and outposts that showcased human adaptability while avoiding the appearance of creating their own dominion. The Thenvari maintained their distance, observing and occasionally sharing insights about cosmic phenomena beyond current scientific understanding, but respecting the development of younger species. Most remarkable was the transformation of Ambassador Zexter Terrell himself. Once the embodiment of Krell imperial might, he became the most vocal advocate for cooperative development. His unique perspective, having commanded conquest fleets, experienced defeat, and then participated in the birth of a new galactic order, gave him unparalleled credibility among diverse species. On the 10th anniversary of First Contact, Zexter found himself once again on that Geneva balcony overlooking Lake Lehman. Dr. Amara Okafor joined him, now silver-haired but still sharp-minded. "Did you ever imagine this outcome when you led that invasion fleet?" she asked. Zexter's mandibles clicked in the Krell expression of ironic amusement. "Never. My greatest failure became my greatest opportunity. The Dominion taught me conquest, but humanity taught me something far more valuable." "And what was that?" Amara asked, though she suspected she knew the answer. Zexter gazed up at the night sky, where the first stars were becoming visible. Among them were not just distant suns, but thriving worlds, trading vessels, diplomatic outposts, a galaxy awakening to possibilities beyond domination and submission. "That true advancement comes not from destroying or subjugating what is different," he said, "but from learning to see the universe through eyes not your own."